Bien.
Okay then, I think we're ready to go. So as I was telling you, the idea for this first session is to welcome you to the chapter workshop. The agenda for today first is to welcome you to the workshop. Then the Vice President for Latin America and the Caribbean will be welcoming you. We will talk about the workshop chapter and what is the main goal of it. Then we will talk about the magic of being volunteers and what do we gain out of volunteering. Then we will talk about the dynamics of the workshop chapter and then the agenda for the entire workshop. So now I will be sharing a video with you that was sent by the. No, Nancy, I'm here. Oh, okay, Christian is here. Christian was in a UIT meeting, so okay, great. Christian, then you can welcome us. Hi, welcome everyone. This is going to be a very intense week for us. I will be brief because we have too many things to talk about today. What I would like for this week, for this entire week, is for you to interrupt us, intervene, ask questions. I know, unfortunately, that because this is virtual, is a bit harder for us to interact with each other, but it's still very important for you to ask any questions that you might have, for you to take the opportunity to enter into discussions. Congratulations, Nancy, and to congratulations to all the participants of the chapters who have been working tirelessly, and I hope you have an amazing week. Okay, well, thank you very much, Christian. So now, um, I'm going to be sharing with you my presentation. I do want to ask you a favor, though. I'm going to ask you to please enter this link that I will be putting in the chat here. Oh, wait, I can't share it. Give me a second. Okay, give me just a second. Okay, so you have the link there. Please go there and access the following code. So I'm going to be showing you now what we will be doing. So it is very important for me to know what this chapter workshop means to you, or when you heard that you were going to be participating in a virtual chapter workshop, what that meant for you, or what that sounded like to you, what you felt we would be doing, or what it was that you expected out of this. So I would like for you to choose 3 words and write what the workshop chapter is to you. And now I'm going to be sharing with you so you can see the result. Okay, so while you are writing, you will see the words over here. Remember that if you participate, you need to access that link and also enter the code that I just shared with you. So for many of you, apparently, the bigger the word, that means that the more people actually wrote it. So many of you say sharing, getting knowledge, collaborating. What else do you see? Let's see if we find more words. That's we don't see any more. So then what we will be doing now is really explain what the workshop chapter, what the chapter workshop, I'm sorry, is important. Wait, I'm having issues with my computer. I can't show the presentation. Just a second. Let's see. You know, it's Murphy's Law, right? Everything that could go wrong. Let me see if I can present then. Okay, then. So now we will be talking about what the workshop chapter really is about. And for that, we have a special guest. Her name is Christine Saegesser. Christine is our senior director for individual members and chapters, and Christine is going to be explaining what the workshop is all about and what the goal is. So now, without further ado, Christine has the floor so she can talk to us about these workshops. Christine, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nancy. I will be talking in English, sorry about that, but my Spanish is really not up to speed to give this presentation in Spanish. And Nancy, I'm unable to put on my camera. If you can enable that from your host end, then that might be nicer for participants to listen to the presentation, but I will start nevertheless. I think you see the presentation in Spanish on your screen. So before going into that week of presentations, of discussions, of exchanges, I would just like to take a step back for you to get a sense of how this specific chapter workshop fits into the bigger picture of what we do with the chapters worldwide. Nancy, let me know when you want me to try again with the camera.
No me deja activarte la cámara.
Okay, let me just continue. If you raise a
I'm sorry,
red flag
but I cannot activate your camera, I'm afraid.
Okay, good. I'll just continue that way. And sorry, you'll have to do with my picture here. So the chapter workshops and the chapter situation in general, as you can see on the right-hand side, we currently have 121 chapters worldwide. You see a little distribution of where each of these chapters are located. So you see that Latin America currently has 24 chapters, which is actually a big region. And we do also have 10 special interest groups currently. These are similar to chapters, but different at the same time because they are not geographically located. They have a global scope and focus on a specific topic that is in support of our overall vision and mission. So the chapter workshops, I think the video, here we are. I think that works. That might be nicer. Hi, everyone. So the chapter workshops for us are an opportunity for us, we hope for you too, are an opportunity for chapter leaders and members to meet, to come together, to learn from each other, to exchange with Internet Society staff at the same time, to share experiences between each other, but also with the Internet Society staff, to develop plans that are where possible aligned with our current projects. You're of course free to do activities that are different from our project work, but if the work that you do is aligned with what we do in the projects, in the current projects, that's where we can give most support and guidance, and where we do have a lot of resources that we can use to help you, and that will certainly strengthen our impact globally if we can do this work in alignment. And we'd also like this to be an opportunity, despite the fact that this is virtual today, but we'd still like this to be an opportunity for you to network and strengthen the regional chapter and volunteer communities. Okay, next slide there. So yeah, as I just alluded to, this year is different. As you all know, we were not able, unfortunately, to meet in person. We are all struggling with the COVID situation, getting through the pandemic. At the same time, we realized that this situation actually highlights the continuity that the internet offers to get us through this. The pandemic has highlighted the importance for having a better, reliable, and affordable internet for everyone. With this in mind, the chapter workshops have then been tailored to this context, and they take place virtually around the world. We have 6 of them, and have been put together with the help of local volunteer groups to make sure that the topics covered, but also the format, is most convenient to you as our community members. On the right-hand side, you see the list of all the chapter workshops, and I believe there's a little, yes, the North America chapter workshop actually takes place after this one. This didn't take place yet, so there was a little change there. Apart from that, there were workshops in Africa, Europe, Asia Pacific, and the Middle East was actually just this weekend. So you're next to come here, and we look forward to this edition here. Yes, next slide. So what do we like to achieve by the end of this week? And this is very high level. So I know Nancy has many more details on what exactly each of the sessions is for and what it would like to achieve. But overall, across the globe, we would like chapter leaders and members participating in these workshops to come out with a good level of knowledge about what our current Internet Society projects and their goals are. We would like you all to get a good understanding of how the topics discussed, how our project topics are relevant for your local context. At the same time, we would like you to feel you come out of this with a clear plan on chapter activities that you could implementing following the workshop. In this case, I think you would more work on these activities actually during the workshop. We'd also like you to have clarity on how we, the Internet Society, as an organization and as staff can help you, what support is available for you in these activities. And at the same time, there are topics that do offer opportunities to discuss chapter management and sustainability development issues that are more linked to chapter governance. And last but not least, these two last points are a bit more complicated since it's not a physical event. It's an online event, but we'd still like you to come away with, for now, virtual friends, new friends. I know some of you, many of you are already friends in real life too. But we hope that you will gain some new virtual friends and that you will have some fun during the sessions. That's important. It's volunteer work. It's time that you take away from your busy schedules, from work, from your families. So we do hope that you will have some fun during the sessions too. And yes, we look forward to discovering the results of the workshop coming out during the workshop, but also after the workshop. Next slide. This is just a little picture from last year's edition. What that happened took place during happier times where we were still able to meet in person. But nevertheless, I would just like to take this moment to wish you a very nice and successful workshop for 2021. And I look forward to listening into sessions here and there. And yes, have a good time. Have a good week. And thank you for being here. Thanks. Back to you, Nancy.
Gracias, Christine. Creo que hay una pregunta del público.
Thank you, Christine. I think that there's a question for you. Rachel Aurelia Vasquez asks something. Rachel, you can open your mic. Well, it's not a question, actually. I just wanted to say hi to everyone and welcome everyone. And thank you for organizing the event and share this with us. Okay, well, thank you, Rachel, for being a part of this event. So now, to move on with the agenda, there is a question that many of you might ask is, what do we get out of being volunteers? What do we gain out of it? And I'm really curious about this. What do you feel you gain out of volunteering or what you get out of it? So let's go back to that link that I shared with you. And using that same code, write a word and just one word, what it means for you to be volunteers. So I'm going to copy that once again in the chat. So that's quicker for you. Okay, that's set over there in the chat. Let's see what you think about what it means to volunteer. Let me share my screen with you so you can see that. Okay, just a second. So what does it mean for us to be volunteers, and what do we get out of being volunteers for Internet Society? Let me see if I can share this or not. Okay, some of you say that you can't see the link, but the link is over there in the chat, guys.
I think you sent it to panelists only, maybe, Nancy. May send it to panelists and attendees if that works from here.
Vamos a pegarlo acá. Listo.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I'm gonna paste it with everyone. So please go to the link, use the code, and tell us according to you what you get out of being volunteers. Oh, let's see. All those words are moving now, and it appears that many of you feel that an important thing you get out is knowledge, that you have growth, experience, giving, joining. And I like those words because I feel that one of the things that we get the most out of being volunteers is the sense of community, which is why we wanted to reflect that over here, that love and that friendship that comes out of volunteering when we are working together. And if you could see that beautiful thing that's happening on the screen as the words are moving, and no knowledge is in the center, because if we get together all that knowledge and all your experience, imagine all that we could do. And I think that based on this, there are two sessions in particular that you guys are going to love, where we really try to connect the experience and the knowledge. One is the Isaac Guru's session, where we will be talking about the experience of our leaders and what it is, or what the factors are that made those leaders be as successful as they are. And I think you're going to love it. So now I'm going to tell you a bit about volunteering and what it is that we get out of it. So let me share my screen with you. So the question will be, what is it that we get out of volunteering? And I would say that, first of all, we are all part of systems. So I am a part of my local community, I'm part of my workplace, I'm a part of my family. But also, because I'm a part of every single one of those systems, when I improve, when I get new skills, I also improve the systems that I belong to. So imagine if I would like to improve my communication skills. If I do that while I'm volunteering, those communication abilities will also be useful in my work, and they will be useful in my family. So how do we then connect this to volunteering? Well, we connect it because volunteering offers us an environment that is safe and fully stable. For example, I know that many of you would like to try things out at work, but you can't do that because it's not a safe space and there's a high risk. But when you're volunteering, you're in a really safe space and you can take more risks. You can try to innovate a bit more, you can try to be creative, and you can try new things. So what could we do then in order for us to improve? We need to think about the soft skills and the hard skills that we get out of volunteering and ask ourselves, what is it that we want to improve in ourselves? Maybe it's leadership skills, motivation skills, negotiation skills, influence, development of team spirit, communication, decision making. What is it that I want to improve out of that? So once I say I want to improve this and I want to put it to the service of my community, and I want to create this growth process for me, both personally and professionally, then I can call my local chapter and say, well, I want to improve my negotiation and influence skills. So I want to create an alliance with this organization. Would you allow me to do this? Can I get started on the process? And then by doing that, I am putting myself to the service of that project. I am gaining experience in the workforce as well, formally speaking, right? In a way that I might not be able to do in another system, such as my work system. So I will be able to then grow into certain skills that I might not be able to grow into in other environments, while I am improving personally and professional, and I am doing something for the common good. So this is a process that gets started but is ongoing, and it's a virtuous circle. So pretty much everyone that is part of the volunteering process knows that once we get started, we can find more opportunities for growth, and along that process we're constantly gaining things, right? And I can give you examples of members of different chapters that we have who got started this volunteering process, and then in time that gave them opportunities at a professional level, because basically, even if it's true that you are speaking on behalf of your chapters, it is yourselves as professionals who are making a space for yourselves and creating new work opportunities for yourselves. So many of the leaders have told me, Nancy, it's really interesting because we had this webinar and I got this phone call and someone asked me if I could present another webinar in the topic because they're starting to be deemed as experts in their countries. So the better we position a chapter, the better you position yourselves as professionals, and that also adds value to your professional careers. So then, in summary, the gains that we get out of being part of this community would be first getting experience, because as I was telling you, we don't always have this opportunity to get started with ideas that are innovative. But when you are volunteering, you can talk to your local chapter and you can come into an agreement to share your ideas. You also get visibility and a good positioning. You can establish contact networks. And I think that that is super valuable because we have so many experts in the region and there's so much knowledge to be mined in the region. So if you have these contacts in your network, it's vital for you. As a matter of fact, several chapters have started working in community networks, and many members were saying, well, this is the first time that I'm doing this, and I'm hesitant. Well, we also have a community of chapter members and chapters themselves who have created community networks. So the fact that we can connect those people to help each other will also be beneficial for you. It will save time and it will help you in your local projects. And at the same time, you will be learning a lot from those experiences that are already existing. And we will also be developing a bit more on that in this workshop. We also provide professional update webinars and trainings so that you are up to date with all the information and you can then have an impact in your communities. We work on developing hard and soft abilities. We also build friendship bonds as well, as you can see here in the pictures, that beyond the initiatives we have strong friendship bonds. And I think those are some of the most important aspects of the work we do, because sometimes we want to have an impact in our community, but we cannot do that by ourselves. And in our case and in what we do, we need the work of a whole community to actually lead society and have a real impact. So when we get together, we join with others, we share our knowledge, and we share that spirit for change in our communities. We establish bonds, and we don't feel just as friends. We start feeling as if we're members of a family, and that's a very powerful thing. We also gain new experiences, and I think many of you know that when we are trying to implement an initiative, that takes planning, right? And once that project has been implemented, we are so satisfied by that, that really that feeling kind of is kind of worth the entire process that we went through, because we know that through our organization we are changing the life of many, many people. We are creating opportunities for many people. And I want to talk about a critical example of this. This happened in Honduras. There was a community network created for an indigenous area, and they are now currently administering the local network. And after a year of having implemented this community network there in Honduras, I came across the network leaders. I talked to them and I asked, "Oh, what happened in your community after the implementation of the community network?" And they told me, "You're not going to believe this, but many people are now in education because, and they couldn't do that before. Women are empowered. More people are working now." So when I hear this, I say, what a pleasure it is to do so much for our communities, and how many opportunities and how much change are we bringing into our communities thanks to the selfless work that we're doing for the common good. So it is truly inspiring to see how every single thing that the chapters are doing are adding value to our communities. And the last thing, which I think is one of the most important, is just to improve life quality in our local communities. When we start a project, when we volunteer, we are sharing opportunities with so many people that perhaps didn't even know those opportunities were there. For communities that might not have internet, and then once they get internet, we start seeing the differences. People start studying more, people start selling their products who might not have been able to do that before, and that community starts growing so much that everyone is enriched. And at the same time, we go through this enriching process of seeing how other people change their life quality. So I want to stop now because I see that there are a lot of people raising their hands now. So let me see. Oh, no, I think it's just comments in the chat. So let me check those comments.
Perfecto, aquí veo muchas personas que desean
So
empezar.
I see a lot of people that want to start volunteering over here in the chat, and who are pride and full of enthusiasm with the idea of collaborating with the local community. So that's what you gain out of volunteering, and I hope that after this workshop, we have more people joining in, supporting their local chapters. And I do see a hand up here, so just a second. I thought there was a hand up, but I don't see it. Do I see it? Ah, wait, I found it. Edgar Sanchez. You have the floor, Edgar. Maybe it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake. Oh no. Okay, we can hear you. Hi, good afternoon or good day, everyone. I am Edgar Sanchez from Nicaragua. I think it's really interesting to volunteer with ISOC, and I would actually like to know, because I am a member of the Nicaragua chapter, I have been merely participating in these activities, but I think this is a time for me to actually become a volunteer, so thank you. Yes, if you want to be a volunteer, the only thing you have to do is one, register in Global ISOC, and then you need to go into your profile. You need to choose the chapter that you want to participate in, and then you need to contact the chapter leader. And as a matter of fact, this week we're going to be sharing the contact information for all the chapters, because I think that one of the biggest challenges for chapter leaders is that they have a lot of work to do. This is volunteer work, like we said. So the people who are leading chapters are not getting any salary out of this. They do this because they believe in our mission and our vision. So actually getting more people involved in volunteering who can actually carry that burden at a local level is of the utmost importance for them. And without the support of the community, things get really hard for us, because having very few volunteers, they can do a lot of things, but they end up being overworked, they are too tired. So it becomes really important for us to find new leaders who can help those local leaders carry out and develop internet and develop our mission or vision at a regional level. Let's see. Let me see if I have another hand. So no, I don't have anything else. So now let's see how we can make the most out of the workshop then. As you saw, we are going to have a lot of sessions. You don't need to participate in all of them. That would be virtually impossible, I think. But you can come in and out of the sessions using the exact same link that we shared with you. So if you forgot to register for a session, if you want and you want to go there anyway, that's fine. You can get into any session that you want whenever you want. So that should be noted. Now, let's talk about how to participate. So the first thing you do is you register using the link that we shared, and then you get in at the day and time that you have in that Zoom link in our agenda. And then an important thing, and let me go back to the agenda. Do remember that this is a Latin America's workshop. So because we're in different time zones, the time that you see in Costa Rica, which is where I am, is different from the Uruguay time. So in the agenda, we did indicate local times so that you know when we start. You have the Costa Rica, Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Salvador, and Mexico. Then we have Ecuador over there, Bolivia, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Venezuela. We have another one, Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Paraguay. We have another one. So when you want to participate in a session, make sure that you check what time it is, depending on where you are, because that might lead to confusion. You see the UTC time and you say, wait, but I got there at 6 and nothing happened. But that's because you need to check the specific time for the place that you're living in. So that's something that I did want to note. And then going back to what I was saying, at the end of each session, we're going to have an ISOC trivia. Because it's really important for us that you have knowledge and you take on the basic concepts regarding the things that we're doing in the session, just to make sure that when you're working in your communities, you can share the appropriate message with everyone in the community. So at the end of each session, we will have a short trivia. It's a 3-question trivia, and you can just fill out the trivia there. And an interesting thing is that we're going to be doing this as a bit of a game. So the more correct answers you accumulate per session, you get more points. And each point will give us a different status throughout the week. So we have a bronze status. We need to get between 3 to 5 points there. Then we have a silver status. We need 6 to 8 points for that. And then when we have a gold status where we need to get over 9 points. Each session has different scorings. So the organization strategy and leadership and management of chapters give 2 points. Diversity and community sessions give 1 point. And all panel members that are part of our sessions also get 2 points for collaborating as panelists throughout the week. So it's important that you take this into account, that we will be having trivia in every session so that you can test your knowledge, and in that way you can accumulate points. So it's important that in the trivia you include your ISOC membership number, because that's the only way for us to keep track of whether or not you are a member of ISOC. And now you will all get participation certificates, but that really depends on you. If you want to get a certificate, you first need to join in the Zoom platform at the time of the session, because that's the only way for us to verify who attended the session. Then you also need to answer the trivia questions correctly. And you're going to ask, oh, can I cheat? Can I ask someone what the answer is if I'm not sure? Yeah, sure, you can cheat in that case, because if you ask someone, you at least are taking that knowledge with you, so that's fine. And then you need to get over 2 points throughout the week. So once again, yes, you can get a certificate, but if you want to get the certificate, you get it out of the number of hours that you participated in. You need to join in using the Zoom link. You need to answer the trivia questions correctly and get over 2 points throughout the week. So let me check the chat very quickly to see if we have any questions about this. The panelists have already been selected. The panelists are actually members of the current leadership of the chapters. The trivia link that we will be doing now with the first 3 questions will be shown here, and I will give you a couple of clues. So give me just a second, and let's see if I have more questions. Let's see. I see that there are many chapter leaders who are actually a part of the session here. You can share the link over there in the chat so that people can contact your chapter, because I think that a lot of the people that are in the session might actually be interested in that. So now that I've checked the questions and knowing that there are no more questions, let's move on to the fun stuff. How to participate in the trivia. So it's really easy to do that, actually. The trivia applies for the entire week. So this is the link that you are going to be using all week long. I'm going to put that in the chat, and you can access that right now. You can use that link up to October the 30th. So if I go into the trivia now and I want to test myself in this opening session, I can do it. And I'm going to show you how to do it actually right now. So let me share my screen and do that with you, okay? This is really simple, you'll see. So here you have the trivia. And what you do is you access the link, you write your name over there. You write your full name, mind you, because your certificate will be coming out of this. You indicate the chapter that you belong to. You indicate your ISOC number. And remember that I shared the ISOC number with everyone in one of my emails, and I also sent that last week. So you're going to find that in your inbox in some of the emails that I've been sharing in the past few weeks. And if you can't find that over there, you can also go into your profile in ISOC. You go into isoc.org. You go into your profile, and you will find your membership number over there. And then see how easy this is. You go into the opening session, and then you say, test my knowledge to see what I've learned out of this opening session. And then I go into that and I hit next. And then over here, I will see the questions for the session. And then I will see the workshop is an opportunity for, and then you have very simple questions. And to receive a certificate for my participation, I have to. And then this is a benefit of volunteering for organization. And if you say no benefits, I'm going to go and I'm going to find you. So once you are done answering everything, you can hit test my knowledge in another trivia or finalize the trivia. If you want to test your knowledge in another session, which we will be having in an hour, which is global strategy, you can just click on that. and then you will have the questions for the next session, and so on and so forth until we are done with the chapter. And if you see, once I hit end trivia, I will see a message over here reading that I can modify my answers, and they are recorded all the way up until October the 3rd. So please bear that in mind. Now I'm going to check the chat once again. I'm going to check the presentation to see if we have any questions. Okay, Jorge is saying the chapters have two stages. One's in voluntary membership, and the other that has to do with an associated member of the civil organization of each chapter. Is that correct? Well, at the chapter level, we have different memberships, and not everyone has the same membership type. So we have people who have individual memberships. And in those chapters, I can just enroll in my personal name. So Nancy Quirós is a member of the Costa Rica chapter. Then we have other chapters who have organization memberships. And those memberships, and there are very few chapters that have organizational memberships, by the way, the organization registers as a member of the chapter and not a physical person. So what is really important here is that we verify with the chapter which kind of membership they offer. Let me see. I have many questions here. Let's see, Juan. I just opened your mic. Hi, everyone.
Buenos días, buenas tardes, porque
Good
yo
morning,
estoy
and or
en las
afternoon,
Islas Canarias, en España,
because I am in
y aquí ya es
the
después de
islands
almuerzo. Bueno,
in Spain,
para
so
completar
it's late here.
lo que estabas tú comentando sobre esa pregunta,
So
Nancy,
in order
puedo hablar de la
to say
situación de
something
los
about what you were saying,
capítulos en
Nancy,
España,
I can
y
talk
tal
about the
vez pues con eso
chapters
ya dejamos
in Spain,
redonda esta pregunta que hacía la
and
persona.
then we can
Tal
actually
cual
answer the question
explicó
that you
Nancy ahora
had.
mismo, el primer paso, y
As
todos lo sabemos,
Nancy
porque todos
was
hemos pasado por ahí,
saying,
entrar
we've
al
all
sitio web
been
de
through this. I think first you have to go into
y
the
darnos de alta
Internet
como
Society website,
participantes
and
en
then we
Internet
need
Society.
to
Posteriormente,
indicate that we are
pedir a qué
participants in
capítulo o
Internet
capítulos
Society.
o
We need
los
to
SIC, los grupos
indicate which
de interés,
chapter
queremos participar.
we want to
Efectivamente,
participate
en
in.
España se da la situación que
And
preguntaba
in
este
Spain,
compañero, que
actually, what happens is
es
what
tú
this
te
colleague
registras en
was
el sitio web de
asking.
Internet Society
You
y pides
register in
estar
the
en un
Internet
capítulo y eres
Society
aceptado
website
normalmente
to
siempre, ¿no?
be a member of a particular
Pero
chapter, and you're
en
accepted.
España
Normally,
necesitamos,
you're
y creo que en
accepted.
varios
But
países de
in
Latinoamérica
Spain,
es
and
muy
this I
similar,
think happens
en
in
España
several
necesitamos tener una asociación
in
no
other
gubernamental, una
countries
asociación
too.
civil
We need to have
constituida para
a
poder
civil
darle
organization
cobertura legal a
to
la
provide
vinculación con
legal
Internet
coverage
Society y el
to
capítulo. Entre
this
otras cosas,
bond
muy
that we
importante
have.
para tener una cuenta corriente para
And
el
another
gasto
thing that
de
is important
del capítulo, pues la legislación
that,
española pues necesita que seamos una
because the
asociación
Spanish
constituida
legislation
y con
asks
número
us to be
fiscal de
a
Hacienda
constituted
y todas estas cosas.
company, we
Entonces,
need to
hay unos
have
requisitos.
a fiscal
Entonces,
record. There are
uno
several
puede ser miembro del
requirements.
capítulo
So you can
y
be a chapter member.
también ser miembro de
And at the
la
same
asociación civil
time,
del
you
país.
need to be a member of the civil
Y
society in the
claro, pues ahí
country,
ya
of
a lo
course.
mejor la asociación civil establece
And
una
maybe
cuota de
there,
membresía que no la tenemos
you need
siendo un
a
simple
membership
miembro de
quota.
capítulo
I don't know if
relacionado
that's
a través de
necessarily
Internet Society,
the case. That
pero
doesn't
también
always happen.
si te piden una cuota de membresía también
But
tienes unos
if
derechos
you're
como puede
asked
ser
to get the membership quota,
elegir y ser elegido para la
Juan,
junta directiva y todas estas cosas.
Juan, ¿me
Entonces,
escuchas?
como bien también ponían en el chat, no recuerdo quién fue que lo puso, hay que
As
remitirse
someone was writing in the chat,
a los estatutos de cada capítulo
you
para
need
ver
to go back to
cómo
the statutes
están
of each
constituidos. Yo les
chapter
hablo del
to
caso de
see
las
how
Islas
this is
Canarias y
constituted.
el
I'm
capítulo
talking about
español es
Canary
prácticamente
Islands
igual,
and
que
the
sí hay una asociación
Spanish
civil
chapter,
y que
because
la
we know that
asociación
if there is
civil
a civil society,
es opcional, por decir así.
that is
Puedes ser miembro
optional.
de un capítulo
You can be a
ISO
member of a
y
chapter, of an
si
ISOC
quieres también
chapter,
participar
and if
ya
you
más
want to
profundamente, pues
participate,
pides
you
ser miembro de la
can.
asociación civil. Y
You
creo que
can
con
ask
eso,
to be a
Nancy, pues
member
yo
of the civil
doy mi parte de colaboración
society.
lista.
Nancy, ¿tú me escuchas? Nancy. I'm sorry to the people who were listening in the English channel, but they have not realized that this was happening. So Juan was mentioning, just in case, that there is the necessity to have a particular civil society organization relationship in order to be a member of the Canary Islands chapter. Okay, you can hear me, Jolly? Perfect. So now Nancy is saying that there are several requirements in certain chapters. So, for example, the members need to have a bank account, they need to be registered. And this is what Juan was explaining actually. The members need to be chapter members at a system level, or I wouldn't say at a system level, but at the membership level in ISOC. But at the same time, they can also be part of the organization that was created at a local level. In many countries, it is a nonprofit organization. And I'm going to share that with you over here because I do see here that we have questions from several members. So I'm going to explain to you how you can contact your local chapters. So this is a very simple step. You go into isog.org and you go to the section Find Your Chapter, and you will see here in the map all the different chapters that we have throughout the world. You can see that we have Paraguay, we have Brazil, and in each dot that you see there, you can find the website and you can see the contact information for that local chapter. So what do you do then? If you are interested in being part of the Bolivia chapter, imagine you go into the profile, you select the Bolivian chapter, and if you want to contact the leaders of that chapter in particular, you can do that because you have the email. Here you can see that we have Colombia, we have Ecuador. You have information here for all the chapters right over here. Let me see other questions over here. The question is, can I belong to two chapters at the same time? Well, that depends on the statutes, really. Basically, we have questions that only get members living who are a part of the country or that are national members living abroad. That is actually defined by the chapter once the chapter is created. So depending on the chapter, you will see whether or not they allow you to be a part of the chapter or not. So maybe the chapter can say we will be taking up members throughout Latin America, and they might allow you to live in another country and still be a member of the chapter. That will depend on the statutes of the chapter. Then the question is there a chapter in Chile? Because I tried to find that and I couldn't come across the option. And that is actually one of the news that we had for the closing ceremony. In theory, and this is something that we will be explaining on the closing ceremony, actually. We were missing Chile. And Chile is actually, we got the good news last month that they have registered their chapter at the local level and that we will soon be inaugurating the Chilean chapter quite soon. So you will get if you are in Chile, you will be getting the news that you can register in the Chilean chapter and start collaborating. And now let me check the chat to see if we have any questions. Oh, we have another question. Can we have several chapters in the same country as it's the case for the United States? Well, that depends on the country, actually. What happens in the United States, because the land is so big, they have state chapters. But what happens in Latin America is that there are no countries where we have the option of having more than one chapter per country. This is what happens in Latin America. In the case of Spain, they do have different chapters in the same country, but in our case in Latin America, we only have one chapter per country. And this happens because we need to have all the operations of the chapter centralized so that we don't have a chapter with one goal and then a chapter with another, which might lead to confusion between the members. So in Latin America, we can only have one chapter per country. And now let's see if we have more questions. Okay, I think we've covered all the questions. So without further ado, let me share this with you. I'm going to share the weekly agenda just to mention it generally to tell you a bit about what we will be doing throughout the week. So the next session will be about global strategy. We will be talking about how the organizational strategy enables us to come close to our mission and vision. So, for example, we will see how we decide what to work on and what not to focus on. In the case, for example, of the strategic planning process that we carried out last year, we actually did a public consultation to determine which were the topics that everyone was interested in working on. And we defined them in that way. We're working on them. And in these global strategy session, we will be talking about them. Then we also have a meeting about critical properties of the internet and an internet toolkit evaluation. And that will be very interactive. We will be working with practical cases. And apart from actually getting information, we will get you thinking and analyzing, for example, what are the critical properties of the internet? And then we will give you a case so that you can explain to us how to apply those critical properties or whether or not they were applied correctly. And this is important because some things happen at the local level in a chapter that the chapter doesn't really know how to deal with. So we're going to be providing you a theoretical framework so that you can deal with any situation regarding to internet using those critical properties. Then on Monday, we're going to have community networks, a session on community networks, which is going to be a bit different from what we normally do because for us, what we want is to extract all the knowledge and all the experience that you guys have. So in that particular session, we will be focusing on projects that have been carried out at the regional level and also projects that were carried out at the chapter level. Then we will talk about governance and development of structures for chapters. In that session, we will be talking about what many of you mentioned there in the chat regarding how to carry out governance and develop governance inside a chapter, and also how we can develop structures in order to make a chapter grow. Then we will talk about technical spaces for collaboration. We will be talk about exchange points and nodes in the region. We will talk about the experience. We will have leaders who have a lot of knowledge and experience talk about that experience, and they're going to share some tips as well about how they actually developed those groups. Then we have a set that has to do with the different volatile complexity and ambiguity volunteering environments. And of course, we need to work hand in hand with these different aspects. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we will have a set where we will be focusing on these different VUCA environments. And then we will have a session as well on diversity of our community. We have several members who are going to be sharing typical meals. We have a surprise because some staff members are also going to be cooking as well. So we invite you to join us in the session. We will also have members who will be joining in the session, showing us their typical costumes. And the idea is for us to feel proud of our roots. So we will be talking about that. Then on Wednesday, we will talk about powers and influence in volunteering environments. We will talk about how to grow our influence in nonprofit environments and why it is important for us to create that influence and have that power at the local level to have a strong impact. Then we will have web standards a session for web servers. Then we will have intermediary responsibility. We will have a session on that. As a matter of fact, the Public Policies Department not so long ago mapped intermediary responsibility throughout Latin America with the help of several chapters. And we will be presenting the results, what was done through that mapping process. And we will also have a special guest from the WillMat, who will also be joining us in that session. So I strongly recommend you join us because this is an amazing guest. And it is really helpful for you to hear what he has to say. Then we will have a session on encryption and its importance, routing security, another one about design sprint. It has to do with creating products in a very short time lapse. And this, I think, applies a lot to chapters. I think the thing that we have the least of is time. So in the science sprint, we will be focusing on how we can design things in a very quick, agile way. Then we will have Internet Society Foundation because we offer financing for projects, and we will be explaining how we finance and provide funding for different chapters and how we can also provide funding for local projects. We also have a session of ISOC Gurus, which is in a way similar to what we know as the TEDx Talks, but they are going to be our expert leaders who are going to talk about best practices and impact of practices. And then we have the closing ceremony that I really recommend because we're going to be talking about the entire outreach and the entire work that has been conducted in the region throughout the past years. And when we started gathering all that information, the work that we did as a community is so incredible. And it's important for us to highlight that and for each of you to know, as members of this community, to know what the leaders have been doing and the impact that that work has been having at the regional level. So that would be our agenda. And without further ado, I bid you adieu, and I'll see you in an hour in the next session for Global Strategy of Internet Society. It is exactly at 5 p.m. UTC. And as I told you, please check the time in your country so that you can access this using the exact same link that you have here. You can get out or you can stay. This link is open, so you will have it over here. You can use it without any problems. So you can use it. Also, we have a WhatsApp group. I'm going to be sharing that with you guys as well. Because maybe some of you are at work and you might actually forget about the sessions. So if you get into this WhatsApp group, I will be sharing the agenda with everyone. I will be sharing the links so that you don't miss out on anything. So without further ado, I'm wrapping this opening ceremony up. We thank you for being part of the chapter workshops. And it is really motivating for me to know that many of you already have this collaboration spirit and this drive and desire to volunteer. So we hope to see more members in the chapters volunteering. And so have a good afternoon. See you soon.